it going, you guys? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks for tuning in. So we are talking about how NBA Twitter is dragging Adam Silver for the influx of injuries that we've seen in a lot of the top NBA players this season. But does he deserve all the blame? We'll be breaking down that. We're also talking about Ben Simmons and how he dragged the Nets. But before we dive into this latest news, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic. I'm so happy we're almost to the end of the week. Midway mark.
You know what, Jackie? I woke up this morning and looked at my clock. So I'm naturally an early riser. I wake up between 6 and 7, no matter what time I go to bed, no matter what day of the week it is. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I woke up this morning and my clock said like 6:22, and I thought, damn, I'm waking up so early on a Saturday. Except no, it's not a Saturday. It's a Wednesday. So I was way off track. I don't know why. This week has just been busy for me, but I woke up seriously thinking it was the weekend. But we've got a couple more days to go until we're there. How are you doing today, Jackie?
So I'm exhausted. You guys know I've been trying to get out of Hollywood. I was telling the crew this morning that woke up to all hell breaking loose outside of my apartment again. And I'm just like, okay, I cannot move out of here fast enough. I can't even sleep through the night without hearing, it sounds like the Tasmanian devil is living across the street from me. I don't know what's going on, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Jackie, I feel like every day you've got a new story to tell us about, whether it's those people sprinting up the street with cops following them or gunshots or some other wild, crazy stuff. Damn, you deserve a medal for how long you've been able to survive in Hollywood. I know for those of you who have not been to LA, or maybe you're not from LA or spent a lot of time here, Hollywood always seems like it's this really glamorous place with the Hollywood sign and the stars on the sidewalk. But really, for whatever reason, it just gets really kind of weird over there. It's a very strange place.
Absolutely.
I am so excited for you to be able to get out of Hollywood and into a place where you don't get woken up every night with helicopters and yelling and Tasmanian devils outside of your door. All right, well, let's jump into the news, you guys. Let's talk about Adam Silver and how he is just getting completely dragged by NBA Twitter. So we've seen a lot of great NBA players suffer from injuries this season. We've got LeBron, who's out. We've got AD, who is out. And most recently, we saw Jamal Murray go down with a torn ACL. That was really quite a devastating thing to watch. And a lot of people feel that it's because of the shortened season that we're experiencing, or that, I guess not we're experiencing, but these athletes are experiencing, because they're packing in multiple games or more games than they normally would back to back to back. So people are pointing all of their fingers at Adam Silver. They blamed him for Jamal's injury after the Nuggets were forced to play 6 games in 9 nights due to that shortened schedule. So, Leo, can we throw up some of those tweets to start? Okay, so this first tweet says, with so many back-to-backs and such short turnaround time after the bubble, it's obvious why these players keep getting hurt, man. Prayers for Jamal Murray. I blame you, Adam Silver, you greedy MFer. And you can see he's got some clown, like Microsoft Paint makeup on right there. Leo, let's go to the next tweet. This one says, Adam Silver gets to pretend he makes tough decisions when he absolutely has not, can't interfere with the Olympics, have to start season when networks tell you to, have to do All-Star game without an extended break, have to jam 72 games in, have to enjoy the season, pal. And this tweet got a lot of people actually firing back at that person, but we're going to get to that in just a little bit. I have a few more tweets that I want to show you guys that are just roasting Adam Silver. This one says, Nuggets playing their 6th game in 9 nights. I'm a grip Adam Silver bald head and rip it off like I'm Michael Jordan. All right. This one, Adam Silver, while season-ending injuries are at an all-time high because of a shortened off-season, and he's just hanging out with cash flying everywhere. 6 NBA games in 9 days is ridiculous, bruh. Adam Silver shouldn't even think about heaven when the time comes. And then another tweet up here, Adam Silver deserves some type of punishment for this season. This is unacceptable. I'm trying to remember if we have one more coming. Oh yeah, jokes aside, Adam Silver is overworking them boys. They need to take a stand. And then this next one, so this is where people are actually saying, hey, it's not all Adam Silver's fault. This person wrote, I keep seeing you put this season's crammed schedule on Silver. The Players Association voted on it. It passed because no one wanted to give up the TV money, 70 games and Christmas Day games. It's about money for both sides. This other tweet also sort of defends the decision, saying the NBPA agreed to the length of the season and the schedule, though. Also, I don't know if y'all know this, but the TV networks are very much the bosses of the entire NBA. This whole thing falls apart without them, and they're not moving any Olympic programming for the NBA. And then there was one more tweet, I think, that says, I think we can all agree the NBA starting so soon after the bubble and the horrific scheduling and back-to-backs are destroying the players. This is the NBA and the NBPA's fault. And I believe that was the last tweet, but if there's another one, Leo, okay, so yeah, that was the last tweet. So, you know, Jackie, do you feel that it's fair to put all the blame on Adam Silver when people are right? The NBPA did vote on this.
So there's a lot of blame to go around. I think Adam Silver can take some of it because the buck does stop with him. Whether he likes it or not, the buck does stop with him. So I think he can take some of the blame. But people are right. The networks are not going to move anything around at all. And the NBAPA agreed to this. They could have made a stand then. They knew then what this schedule was going to look like. Now, you guys can feel some type of way about the All-Star game because going into this season, everyone thought that they were going to get this nice break during the All-Star game, and all we got is our All-Star day instead of an All-Star weekend. But that was supposed to be a break. That was the understanding that everyone had. So they can legitimately be mad about that. But I think a lot of this has to fall on the coaches. And I know I've sung this song before. I'm going to sing it again. But you know what the schedule looks like going into it. Like they said, this was agreed upon. You guys had a say in how this would go down, and this is how you guys decided it would go down. Yes, your hands were tied on a lot of it because the networks are going to do what the networks do. The networks do hold all the cards as far as these NBA games go, and some of it is like a bad card. You still can't see a Washington game if you're not living in Washington and it's a home game. You can't see it. You can't watch it. It's unnerving. So they really do hold all the cards in that aspect. But again, as coaches, you know what it is. You know what you're getting into. And when Jamal Murray got hurt in that game, I was watching that game, and I literally said, why is Jamal even playing at this point? Yes, there's this random chance. It's happened like a couple of times in history where you can cover that kind of point spread in a very short amount of time. But it's very, very rare. And when you're playing 6 games in 9 days, you got to kind of realize one of those is going to be an L. Just regardless. And since this one was already shaping up to be an L, you have to learn how to do load management. Load management needs to be elevated in this situation. Everyone should have kind of known that because of the way how quickly you were playing back-to-back games. So, no, the coaches needed to step up and take one of your star guys out when you already know you're going to take that L. He shouldn't have been playing. Load management should have been a thing at some point. And you have to figure out how to find that good balance of load management on your players and which games you just know you're going to have to take an L and when to pull out a player when the L is coming. But you know what you're up against, and you know it's the same thing I said with LeBron. Why in the hell he was playing that many minutes is still perplexing to me because you know what's coming. You know how in rapid succession these games are coming, and you got to be healthy at the end of the season. So I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Do I think the majority of that lands on Adam Silver? Absolutely not. Because when the players had an opportunity to say something and maybe change something, they didn't. And now the responsibility of keeping these players healthy falls squarely on the head coaches. So I can't give all of this to Adam Silver. I mean, I just don't think he deserves all the blame. He could take a small portion of it, but at this point, once you agree, it's a very, very small portion.
Yeah, I think that what we maybe can blame Adam Silver for is that All-Star game when they went into the season thinking that they weren't even going to have that happen this year. So that is one thing where I do think Adam Silver deserves to have people drag him a little bit, and that was one area where he messed up. But when you do look at the reason the schedule is the way it is it's because the players had a say in it, and they had that opportunity to vote on it. And Jackie, you're absolutely right. When it comes down to it on a game-by-game basis, it's up to the coaches to put in their star players. So just looking at this Jamal Murray situation a little bit more closely, what do you think the motivation was to have him play so many minutes in such, we know this schedule is really compact. We knew it was going to be hard on the player's body. Why would there ever be this desire to put in one of your top players like that?
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. Number one, it's star power. You want your star player out on the floor because that's what people are watching for. They're watching to see Jamal Murray and Joker go out there and do their thing. That's what they're watching for. But at the end of the day, I still don't care about the star power. I care about the W's you can get. And you need your star players to have that deep run at the end of the season and in the playoffs. So you absolutely need that. That's one aspect of it. It's for us. Having the stars out there is so we can watch the stars. That's one aspect of it. I think the other aspect of it is, again, and I hate to say this because I know this falls squarely on King James. A lot of these coaches have to grow a pair. They can't just have these athletes telling them what they're going to do. They can't have these athletes say, yeah, I want to play, coach. I'm good, coach. Okay, I'm glad you feel that way. Feel that way as you sit on the bench because I'm not risking you right now. And a lot of these coaches now, they don't really coach anymore. They're more like they're personality managers is what they really are. There's not a lot of coaches out here anymore. There's not a lot of Popovich, and there's not a lot of Phil Jackson and even Doc Rivers who are going to kind of put the foot down. And we've seen when coaches like Doc Rivers kind of step up, it doesn't necessarily work because the personalities haven't been managed properly. So one of y'all need to be a head coach. The assistant head coach can be the personality manager, but you need to be able to look your players in the eye and say, I don't care what you want to do. You're sitting this down. I don't care if you think we can come back and close this, I think it was like a 9-10 point, maybe more than that, when Jamal really started going out there and trying to put it all on the court. And I appreciate that. That's what you want your guys to do. You want your guys to think that they can win at all costs, but it is your job to make sure that they're healthy later in the season. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. As a head coach, one of your jobs is to protect players from themselves. So y'all need to man up. I don't care what they say to you. They need to sit down sometimes, period.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And we have said that so many times about LeBron James. Even though we love to see him play, we know that LeBron is not going to be able to go out there and put in excessive minutes every single night because he is 36 years old and he wants to continue his NBA career. But that's a conversation for a different day. Do you think that the players who did vote for this shortened schedule and who did kind of agree to the way the NBA season is going right now, do you think that any of them are regretting that decision?
Oh, no, I don't think any of them are regretting it because they're ball players. I mean, we can't even get them to sit down when they're supposed to sit down. They wanted to go out there and play. I do want to address Jeremiah Stay Mad Smith. He said, Jackie, do you not know the players will get coaches fired? Look at Stan Van Gundy. Okay, again, that supports what I said. We can't give these players that kind of power. It just doesn't make sense. You need to be there to protect. Your job as the head coach is to protect the asset. The asset are the players. And you need to have the balls to do that. I don't know how else to say it. If that means you've got to get into an altercation on top of that, your job as head coach is to make sure that you prove to the front office why you should be there, and they should be willing to help you get some of these players in line. So I think that every single player who's out there playing wants to play. We've seen that because they played in situations where they shouldn't play. And so they definitely want to play. So I don't think they're regretting this situation. And I also think it was Kevin said that injury to Jamal could have happened at any time. It could have, but it might not have. If you would have pulled him out of that game, because the body does stress. When it gets stressed, anything could happen. So if you let him sit, if you let him get proper rest, give the body time to heal between games, and that's what a lot of these players are not getting right now. They're not getting adequate time to heal between games. You make this one a mandatory sit out, he has time to rest. We just don't know. And that's the problem that I think I have with this whole situation. We knew for sure they were going to lose. We knew that for sure, regardless of Jamal Murray being in there. But what we don't know now is, and we'll never know because we don't have a crystal ball, but if you had managed his time on the floor better, would he have been able to finish out this season? Again, you're never going to know that for sure, but what you do know is the body needs rest. And as a head coach, you know that, so you have to make sure you figure out a way to give that.
Yeah, and I think that one thing maybe players and coaches get caught up in during the regular season is that star power matters more in the postseason. That's where we really want to see people like Jamal and LeBron playing and going out there night after night and putting in those extra minutes, because that's when it matters the most. So it is a very devastating situation for the Nuggets. But yeah, back to this Adam Silver conversation, I have to agree. I don't think that Adam Silver deserves all the blame. The players had an opportunity to vote on it, and so much is decided by the networks. But yeah, when it comes down to teams, it needs to be up to the coaches and maybe even the athletes to decide when it's time for them to take a seat and to sit out a game or to play less minutes, just to preserve their health and their body going into the rest of the season. I think I had one more. Yes, go ahead.
I want to say one more thing about Adam Silver. Nobody is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not saying that Adam Silver is perfect. Obviously, there's things in this situation he could do better. But when you look at the NBA and you look at how progressive it is, especially when we're talking about Major League Baseball, hockey, NFL, when you talk about how progressive they are and how much they really do give their athletes the platform to go out and hopefully promote social change, which is much bigger than basketball, you got to kind of give some of that credit to Adam Silver. So I'm not going to, just because he did one thing that we don't necessarily like, which again was not entirely up to him anyway, I don't like that kind of narrative where somebody does one thing you don't like and now you want to throw the farm at him and cancel him and you want to draw clown faces on him. That's ridiculous, because the man deserves an enormous amount of credit on how he's handled the NBA up until this. Yes, this was a bump in the road, but it was a bump in the road for all of us. This pandemic threw all of us off, so nobody got it 100% right. But as a whole, he is an outstanding commissioner, and I think we all need to recognize that. So it's my little 2 cents on Adam.
He's done a good job, and I think the adjustments that can be made going into the remainder of the season needs to be something that the coaches do. The coaches need to look at this Jamal Murray situation, the LeBron situation, and take it as a learning experience and realize that if you want to protect your top players, you can't have them going out there and putting so much stress on their body. Let's talk about Ben Simmons, okay? So I know a lot of you in the chat are like, are you guys making up this story? No, we're not making it up. He actually said this. This is so annoying.
I love the invitation. Devin for the win already.
There were so many of those in there. Like, just hold your horses, guys. We're getting to it. This is the true story. I'm going to read his direct quote. So Ben Simmons woke up and decided to drag the Brooklyn Nets. The Sixers had a blowout win over the Mavericks last night. And after the game, Ben was asked about facing off against the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving, KD, James Harden. And he said, quote, "We're going for the past champs, the Lakers. They were the ones who won a championship, so you got to give the respect to them. Obviously, Brooklyn has a lot of talent, but at the end of the day, there's only one ball, and you got to play defense too." So, Jackie, what is your reaction to this quote? Do you agree with Ben Simmons? Tell me all your thoughts.
So this one is an interesting point, because technically when you watch the Nets, he's not wrong. Sometimes we know James Harden on any given defensive play can go missing. He's gotten a lot better. I know tremendously better as far as how he plays defense. But, for a while there, the Nets were looking pretty horrible defensively. What I find interesting about his comments, when you look at the team as now, you can break down the defense of each individual player if you wanted to, and that's fine. But when you look at the defensive stats, and I understand that numbers aren't everything, but the Nets are number 3 and the 76ers are number 4. So as a team, the Nets are playing better defense. The problem, I think, is what we all see. Something happens to the Nets in the fourth quarter. Their defense kind of just breaks all the way down. It's almost like, I don't know, they just expect it. They expect it to just go their way kind of thing. They do kind of just disappear a little bit in the fourth quarter. So, but again, statistically speaking, they're in third place as far as their defensive numbers. And the 76ers are in fourth place. So I do think Ben Simmons, though, as far as when we're talking about the Nets and the 76ers, Ben Simmons is one of the better defenders when you talk about those two teams for sure. So I think he's seeing that there's no, as far as him defensively, he knows he's going to go out there and he's going to give somebody that work. And let me be clear, one of the reasons why I think Kyrie was so upset when that N-word was exchanged between him and Dennis, not 100%. Yes, I think a 98% of it was because of how he feels about that N-word. But 2% of it was because Dennis was out here giving him that work and shutting him all the way down, and he was completely frustrated. So if Dennis can do that, I can't wait to see what the 76ers do against not only Kyrie, but their whole entire squad. I think defensively, the 76ers are going to go out there and play them to death. And that's what teams really need to look at, how they're playing against, how other teams who are successful against the Nets are playing them defensively, because I do think you can shut them down defensively if you play them right, because they don't have it. And that's the problem with like the Warriors. It's hard to when Steph and Clay are there. It's hard to play them 100% defensively because they can pull up from anywhere and shoot. There's no place on the court that's safe. And this is not the same. That's not that kind of squad. So if you really want to, you can shut them down defensively. And I know a lot of us don't watch like the full Nets game, so we do watch a lot of the fourth quarter. So for us, they don't look that good defensively. But I'm just saying, numbers wise, they're third, so they're not horrible.
Mm-hmm. So, well, actually, with last night's win, the Sixers did regain possession of the first place in the East, not for, defense, but it's just interesting to kind of see these teams neck and neck. Do you think that Ben Simmons' comments could lead to an Eastern Conference rivalry?
I think everybody's in rivalry with the Nets right now, just because how they built themselves. You know what I mean? It's just, and then, Kevin Durant, it's a point of contention because you went from a team to a team you couldn't beat. And now you left there, and now you're creating this whole, Thanos situation. And you have said comments in the past. I'm gonna get to one tweet later on in the post up where you didn't really like that kind of thing. So I think everyone's kind of gunning for KD and this whole super team that he's built, number one. But for sure, the 76ers have let it be known that they feel like they're the team to beat. And so they're going to go out there and try to prove that at all costs. And we kind of need that to work. We need this Ben Simmons thing to finally work out the way that everybody knows it should work out. So I think for them, it's definitely going to come down to proving that they're the team to beat. They want to be they've said it for a long time. What was it? Joel said not too long ago, like, we're the team now. Y'all got to look at us. So here's the thing, though. They go in there and they beat the Nets, and especially if it's a close game, which I think is what we all expect, or even if it goes into overtime, then it's okay. This is the battle of the East. This is what it is. But if the 76ers go in there and do any sort of blowout, we're going to have a whole need-to-know news topic about that and figure out, what does this mean? Who are the Nets really? Do we really know who the Nets are, or are we just seeing all these names and assuming that they'll be great together? We'll need to have a real conversation about what this means for the Nets and what this means for the 76ers if they go in there and they blow them out. If it's a close game, then now we just have this rivalry. But if it's a blowout, yeah, we need to have a talk.
Well, for those of you who are tuning in the chat, let us know if you think Ben Simmons' comments are the start of a tense rivalry between the Nets and the Sixers, or if you agree with Jackie and every team is a rival of the Nets right now. And that wraps up Need to Know News. So Jackie, let's go into the post up.
Yes. Let's get into the post up and let's talk some smack, because since we're talking about KD, let's just keep the smack talking going, because you guys remember what happened yesterday with the whole, fake quote. It happens, it's terrible. You kind of should apologize for it and admit that you were wrong, but that's not what we got. So let's recap the situation. Let's look at this tweet from KD, where he shows the whole fake tweet. So on the bottom there, it says, people try to discredit my rings, but honestly, I feel like they're the most valuable of our era. People argue LeBron James is the GOAT, but if I beat him in back-to-back finals, then what does that make me? So that quote is not actually real. We talked about that yesterday. Kevin Durant responds and said, Shannon went on TV responding to this quote like I actually said this. Gullible fans will believe it or say you was thinking this anyway. It's comedy at this point. I love that he said that, because I did see a lot of tweets of people say, okay, well, maybe he didn't say that, but he implied that because that's what he was thinking anyway. Not entirely true. It's not just if I said what I mean and I mean what I say kind of thing. So I think this was an interesting play, because Shannon Sharpe should have literally said, my bad, y'all got me. You know what I mean? You got me with this fake tweet. It happens every now and then. My bad. But that's not what Shannon said. He basically wanted to say, okay, he might not have said that, but he said this. He said, y'all remember the fake account when KD said, now everybody want to play for the Heat and Lakers. Let's go back to being competitive and going at these people. Then joins the 73-9 Warriors and builds the Nets into a superpower with Kyrie and Harden. Oh my God. So he's basically saying, let's not forget what KD said in the past, and he's right. So this tweet is old. I want to just let y'all know that. But KD actually, this is not a burner account, but this is Kevin Durant. He says, now everybody want to play for the Heat and Lakers. Let's go back to being competitive and going at these people. So that's from July of 2020. That's before. So again, he's not, but Shannon is basically saying, okay, I don't care that he didn't say this. He said that. And that's not the way to address this. You kind of have to take it. You got to take that one on the chin and say that you were wrong, but he does not. And then KD pointed it out again. He says, oh, Shannon refuses to respond to me. Yo, Shannon, why are you using your platform to push fake quotes about me? That's a good question. What's wrong with I'm sorry? When did I'm sorry become so hard to say? And Shannon responds and says he wants to have a private conversation. He says, KD, if you want to talk to me, I'm not hard to find, but I'm not going back and forth on social media. Whatever our differences are, they can be handled out of the eye of social media. Well, okay, but Shannon, you said this on a whole show, a whole nationally syndicated show. Everybody saw you say it. So why do I have to go in private when you said this in public? I don't understand that. And then so ultimately Shannon Sharpe, because KD keeps going back and forth and saying, no, talk to me now, he blocks him. And so Kevin Durant posts that and says, but I'm sensitive. But you can see that Shannon Sharpe blocked Kevin Durant. And of course, Shannon Sharpe has a response to that. And he says he basically did it because he's not a, gangster or whatever. I don't understand this first part of this tweet. I'm not gangster. But I'm not going back and forth with KD and lose my job either. I've had a disagreement with other people before. We handled it like adults and moved on. Adults. You can respond to this publicly without losing your job. You can literally just type, my bad, that one got me. I probably should have checked the reference a little bit better. My bad. It's not even 150 characters, and this would have been over. I don't understand the whole thought process of, I don't want to get into this like Michael Rappaport situation. That's what he's trying to imply. I'm not getting into this Michael Rappaport situation with you. If you want to talk, let's talk in private. Well, first of all, no, because that private conversation with Michael Rappaport went public. So anything I say, I needed to be in the forefront of people's face so they know what was said on both ends. And again, this could have been cleared up by Shannon Sharpe. I don't understand. Devin, what do you think about all this? Why can't Shannon just own this one? It happens.
I don't know. And, normally we will drag KD for getting too involved in social media drama. Like, obviously it's funny for us to talk about it, but ultimately it just makes him look like he is very sensitive and in his feelings. But in this case, Shannon Sharpe, I think, owed KD an apology. I think he should have said exactly what you said. Hey, my bad. I got confused there. Sometimes these fake quotes are really convincing. I didn't mean to spread false information about you. But the fact that he is being so stubborn and almost so defensive about his decision to broadcast in a false fake quote, to me is just bizarre. You need to, in order to be a good journalist or reporter, I know he's not necessarily a journalist, but to be a trusted person in the media, you have to be able to own up when you've made a mistake. You have to be able to correct yourself. And his unwillingness to do that is so bizarre to me. I wonder if he was under orders from like the show or the network to not address it.
I don't know. That's a good point. Like maybe it was one of the researchers who gave him this information. And so in order to be completely honest, he would have to say, hey, my research assistant gave me this quote. But you still don't have to do that. You literally don't have to throw anyone under the bus. All you have to say is, my bad, bro. I got this one wrong. Like what? It's not even that hard. My bad. I'm going to check it out a little bit better in the future. No one cares. It happens. Newspapers do retractions all the time. We'll see news station do the same. We're human, people. We make mistakes. It looked legit. Even when I saw it, I thought it looked legit. So we don't have to talk about anything KD said in the past in order to not apologize for this situation. Come on, Shannon. You know how much I love you. I need you to do better. You're making me look bad out here. But let's go on to this next one, because this next one to me is completely fair. I am not mad at this one at all. Because first of all, he's one of my favorite rookies. So he is my favorite rookie, period, right now. So I love Anthony Edwards, but he's just 19. Okay. A-Rod played 22 years or something like that in the league, in Major League. He played longer than Anthony Edwards has been alive. So it is fair that if he's not a baseball fan, that he might not know who A-Rod is. So take a look at this clip where he's asked how he feels now that A-Rod has purchased his team. Take a look.
Do you have any thoughts about him? Are you an A-Rod fan at all growing up or anything like that? What you think about what he might bring to the team?
A fan? What you mean? Like, who is he?
The baseball player, Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I know he's gonna be the owner, but I don't know nothing about baseball.
That's fair to me because look, I've been in situations where I've had to talk baseball, and I've told Arthi already, like, I need to be able to text you. Arthi is our producer. She loves baseball. She knows baseball facts that I would never know. And I need to be able to text her. I need to be able to find out information because I am not a baseball fan. Now, of course, I know who A-Rod is. But if you're not a baseball fan, maybe you don't know. So I'm not mad at this at all. I have one tweet on this one. Somebody responded to this. Oh, actually, I have a couple. It says, I blame ESPN SportsCenter for covering basketball and football and not promoting baseball. That is a fair statement because if you watch SportsCenter, you'll see all these basketball highlights, these football highlights, and then maybe at the end you'll get a couple of minutes of baseball. So this is fair, but since I'm not a huge baseball fan, I don't have a problem with the way SportsCenter is structured, but I get it. This guy says, I get a kick out of a bunch of NBA fans talking about how baseball is irrelevant. I couldn't tell you who this dude is if you gave me 100 tries. Okay, I mean, we don't care. It's not a competition here. We're just saying that a lot of people don't know. We don't know baseball like that, but if this makes you feel better, that's fine. And I love how A-Rod took a look at this and was like, okay, maybe I should introduce myself. He said, what's good, my guy? Hi, I'm Alex. I thought this was perfect because this is so interesting to me. And Kevin Pryor, I see you in the chat, and that was my very first thought. Like, okay, you don't know who A-Rod is, but do you know who Jennifer Lopez is? Because if he would have said, well, yeah, that's J-Lo's husband, I would have been fine with that too. But you have no idea at all who this man is. That was a little interesting to me. Devin, what do you think about this?
I thought it was funny. I felt like if I was A-Rod, I'd probably be a little bit annoyed just watching that, like, oh, it's kind of embarrassing. But Anthony Edwards is 19? Like, he's young, and his focus has been on basketball his whole life. So, yeah, I don't blame him. But then again, Jackie, we are so biased because neither of us are that passionate about baseball. So, I don't know. I guess I can't really speak on this. Maybe we should ask our producer because, yeah, she probably would have a stronger opinion.
Yeah, somebody asked me one day to name 3 baseball players, and I said, okay, Alex Rodriguez, and they were like, current. Mookie Betts, and he goes, okay, and 2 more, and I'm like, ask me about basketball. I had no idea. I was like, he's like, so he literally, and he rattled off like 3, I guess, really, star-studded baseball players. He's like, if they were standing right next to you, would you know who they are? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. So don't get mad at Anthony Edwards. We are going to get better at baseball, though, Devin. That should be our goal. By the end of 2021, we are going to be not Arthi good, because that's a lot, but we are going to be better than what we are. That's our goal.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe that should be the TikTok challenge, although it would be pretty boring on TikTok just to show us researching. But it's one challenge that we could do.
Yeah, but even watching us watch baseball, that would be a boring challenge. Like, okay, it's bottom of what inning is this? You know what I mean? Those innings are so long.
So long.
Anyway. All right, let's move on because we're probably making ourselves look bad now. This one is good too because for me, at any given time, I think that LeBron James probably has the highest well, let me not say probably. At any given time, I definitely think LeBron James has the highest basketball IQ on the court. So this particular moment in time does not bother me, but I know how much hate this man gets. So I was just expecting and anticipating the level of hate that he was going to get. But I actually love this. Take a look.
And so Brad Wanamaker confidently strokes the free throw. It was a technical foul, so Wanamaker shoots the free throw. And LeBron James, he's not even in uniform, and he's the de facto assistant coach. Maybe even head coach. Not too many other players are going to get that latitude.
Yeah, associate head.
So I love this. I do, because first of all, it just gave me some sort of nostalgia of thinking, damn, like what if he is like a head coach? That would be so dope. But I don't think that that's his path, but it was good to see that. But here again, these are one of those moments in time where, yes, I do think LeBron James has the knowledge to do exactly what he did. And you could see, Frank was just kind of like, okay, is this what we're doing? That looks bad on Frank to me. You need to be the one championing for your team and trying to get things rectified. Of course, there's not a lot of players in the league who can do this. LeBron is definitely one of the players who can do this. But of course, here comes the haters. Let's take a look at the haters, because they're coming. He says, how do the coaches have to keep their mask on, but LeBron James can do this, not even in uniform? And I love we that dwell in the kingdom. He fired back really quick. He said, you said it right there. He's LeBron James. That's how. So I know that makes y'all mad, but you just answered your own question. But let's go on to this next one, because again, he said, this is one of the reasons a lot of people don't like LeBron. You ain't active, so why were you the coach? Why were you there? Why were you there in the coaches? And why not wearing your mask? I'm expecting the NBA to dish out a fine. They probably won't. They won't at all. And no, it's not. I see you in the chat that Rondo's IQ is higher. It is not. Rajon Rondo is definitely a fantastic point guard, one of the best in the game to me, but his IQ is not higher than LeBron. But I see you, though. So let's go on to this next one. Speaking of Rondo, and he points out that Rondo did it last year. Rondo wasn't playing, and he was out there coaching, too. He says, Rondo did it last year against the Raptors. Just say you hate LeBron, bruh. He should get a fine or taking down his mask unless he's still testing with the team on a regular. So obviously he's probably testing with the team regularly. So I think this will be fine. But yes, this is one of those moments in time where you love to see, but at the same time, it kind of speaks volumes of the lack of coaching leadership that the Lakers have, which is a problem that I have. So that's all I have to say about that. But let's move on to stay in the same vein, because the Lakers did come away with the win. I think our record on the road is 4-3 now, which is much better than I thought it was going to be, without LeBron James. So I am happy that we got that win over the Hornets last night. And Kyle Kuzma was out there doing his thing. He got 24 points. Congratulations to him. I have 100 questions that I would want to add. Well, maybe not 100. Maybe it's more like 25 questions that I would want to ask Kyle Kuzma about his level of play, his inconsistency, what he sees going forward. Does he think he could be exactly what LeBron James said and the third best player on the team? Those are the kind of questions I need to ask him. I need to see where his head is at. But maybe it's just hard to focus when he's out here with his stunner shades on. So take a look at this and listen to what this reporter had to ask Kyle Kuzma.
Enhanced vision at all, or is that just a style piece there?
No, it's a fashion piece.
Fair enough.
I mean, I get it. I'm trying to talk to you, and you got the stunner shades on, and it's dark in here. Like, what? Why you? Can you see? Are they corrective? Can you see me? What is? So I understand the question. I do. It kind of annoyed me because it wasn't what I wanted to ask, but I did appreciate it, especially when I saw this next tweet, because I was like, yo, this person is definitely onto something, because he said doing whatever he can to look like Amber Rose. You guys, no lies detected, because look at Amber Rose. I have a picture of her, and you tell me that this isn't Kyle Kuzma. It looks he with the stunner shades on. Can't with the stunner shades, like it. Okay, let's just move on. You got a supermodel girlfriend. What is she telling you? Okay, anyway, I actually like the glasses. Let me be clear. The glasses was fire, but they're not inside glasses. They outside in the sunglasses. But anyway, let's move on. Because Jayson Tatum was out here. He was scoring 32 points as well. 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's what he's looking like against their win over Boston, which I thought was or their win over Portland. Which is amazing, but he's still suffering. He had COVID 3 months ago, almost 4 months ago. So a reporter asked him if he was close to being back 100% since that happened, and he said no. And they posted part of his answer on Twitter, which kind of makes you go, dang, that's a lot, But in this tweet, he says that he's not fully 100%, and he's now having to use an inhaler before So Jayson Tatum says he takes an inhaler now before games after COVID. He never did that before. That's crazy to me. So I had to look up his whole quote, and I just want to read it to you because he said it's a process. It takes a long time. I take an inhaler before the game ever since I tested positive. That kind of helps my lungs open up, but I never did that before, so it's something different. And he said it kind of helps his lungs open up. That's crazy to me, which really kind of made me think about what this user said because it is a lot. This shows how scary COVID really is. Tatum is a professional athlete, barely in his 20s, and he still needs an inhaler months after having the virus. And I know y'all don't care about Rudy Gobert, but the last time I checked, he still doesn't even have his taste back. That's crazy to me. I feel like you would lose crazy weight if you can't taste anything because that's half the enjoyment of food is how it tastes. I don't know, but yeah, this COVID virus and how it impacts people and everyone is so different. That's crazy. I'm hoping he's taking good care of himself because the sudden need for an inhaler does ring to me like there's something else wrong that you need to look into. But obviously he's out there doing his thing. Make sure you take good care of yourself, Jayson, because that's definitely a kind of crazy one to me. So let's go into this next one because I don't know I have lost track of how many hash marks I have in the I love Jaylen Brown column, but it's a lot. It's so many. I love this man through and through. And I have to add another one because he once again took his post game to talk about the injustice that we as Black people are still receiving. And I absolutely love him for showing that it's not about basketball right now. I know we just played this game, but look at what's still happening in this world. So take a look to what he said in his post game.
We shouldn't be pleading or persuading people to see things for what they are. We know what this system is and we know what it's capable of. But if you're watching this, listening or tuning in, I just want you to know that your life has value, so much value that they're trying so hard to make you feel otherwise. My life has value. My life had value before I played for the Celtics and it will long after. At some point, you realize what you're dealing with. The power has and always will be with the people. You got to stand up and fight. What other solution do we have? That's really all I got. See you guys later.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I love this next tweet as well because it really kind of just speaks to what the real problem is. And I just thought this was so well said. And he said, this is at the heart of this issue. When you don't truly have value for a person, exerting force is an all too easy consequence. We have a culture in which all faces are not valued equally, and until that happens, accidents are going to keep occurring. So, and again, I don't believe it was an accident. There's no way in 25 years on the force that you can't tell the difference between a taser and a gun when they're on opposite sides. The weight is different. And it's a whole different color. So there's a lot to go into this, but I thought that was so well said. And Jaylen Brown, I mean, I can't even tell y'all how much I love that man. But yes, that is my guy. And I appreciate him taking time to raise awareness once again in that and just let people know that your life matters. I think sometimes you get really hopeless looking at this happening over and over and over again. We haven't even started the Ahmaud Arbery trial. We're never going to get justice for Breonna Taylor. It's just so much that's constantly coming at you. So I appreciate him taking that time to let people know that their lives have that it does matter. And I love this next one too, because this one, if you can take time to troll Shaq, I'm in. I just know that I am in. And I figured out, because sometimes I get so annoyed with what Shaq says as commentaries on a game. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But now I understand. That man be sleeping through the games, and he's just making it up as he goes along. He probably didn't watch more than a minute of the game because we always see him sleeping. We're going to see him sleeping again, but finally, Dwayne Wade and Candace Parker are going to make him pay for it, and I love it. Take a look.
Bitches always sleep. Yo, hey Candace, you got some, get those grapes, Candace. Wait, you guys gonna compete? I'm getting three. We get 3 shots. First up, Dwayne Wade from the free throw line. Candace, underhand. Okay. All right, don't worry about it. Wade for number 2. How'd you even know? sleeping.
She said, "You always sleeping." Who was the commentator? Who was calling that play-by-play? Because you did an outstanding job. I love it. This was 100% what Shaq needed. And how hard does that man sleep? All that laughing and giggling, and he didn't wake up at all. That's hilarious. I love the chemistry that's going on between them. But yes, every time fall asleep with his mouth wide open like that, y'all should try to make baskets and post it for me, because I loved it. So let me move on to this next one, because I love this one as well. This user posted this on Twitter about how he can't wait to be a dad. And I think it's hilarious. Let me show you this tweet. So he says, "Can't wait to be a dad." And Lamar Jackson says, "What?" And he loves it as well. So let me just set this up for you. These are not real bricks, but I believe in my heart that dad has told the son they are real bricks. So take a look at the video. Well, now the way they were hitting the back of that fence, I can see why some people think they were real bricks, but they weren't. At least that's what Dad said. They were not real bricks. And is this what men think about when they think about fatherhood? Throwing bricks at their kid? Devin, I don't know. I mean, is that what? That's not what I think about when I think about can't wait to be a mom. Oh, I want to throw fake bricks at my kid. Like, what are we talking about right now?
I don't know. This is never something I ever thought I would do with my kid. But yeah, they did. I thought they were real bricks too when I looked at them. What are they?
I don't know. So I went and I looked, because I was like, man, I would never post this. People will call Child Protective Services on you so quick if you throwing bricks at your kid. And so I found that I should have grabbed a screenshot of it, but he was like, hey, they're not real bricks. They're some sort of like styrofoam, whatever. But that's what he said. But when they were hitting the back of that fence, it sounded like a real brick.
It did. It really did. A little nerve-wracking there.
Yeah,
good thing that kid has. Yeah,
right.
Seems to have pretty good reflexes. So good for him.
Yeah, now I need to go back and see. Like, you need to bend that for me, sir, to prove that wasn't a real brick, because what the hell? That sounded like a real brick. But he was unfazed by it. So again, if that was a real brick, somebody needs to call Child Protective Services. If it wasn't a real brick, then I guess it's funny. But let me move on, because that's all I got for the post up. It was a lot of fun. Let's get into, I think that's all I had. Yeah. So let's get into what we're not going to do, because this one I got to just take a deep breath on, because I can't believe that in 2021, this is still happening and we still have to have conversations about this. So first and foremost, this scene shouldn't be a real thing. It should have never have happened. So obviously I'm going to have a problem with that. We're going to talk about that. But the second thing is the way that the child is reacting is absolutely wrong. And we have to address that mindset immediately as well. So Moline High School is in Moline, Illinois. And basically it's a verbal racist attack on a young black man. This time they tried to make him feel like he was less than an animal, and it's intentional. And there's no way in hell in 2021 in high school you wouldn't know something like this is racist. So what happened was there's a video that's floating around, especially in this high school specifically, where this young black man was basically ridiculed and made fun of by his fellow football teammates. And they took a video of it and they felt comfortable sharing it, even though they knew it was racist. So what they did is they went out and they got a whole bunch of banana peels and they put them all over his locker. And they basically told him to sit in the midst of all these banana peels. He didn't want to. And then one of his teammates said, if you don't, I'll break your kneecap. So obviously the police were called, because the kid didn't immediately report it. How this was discovered was when this video started circulating within the school. So the Moline police chief did get involved with it, and he said that it was a very disturbing racist scene. He even found it disturbing. And he said that they interviewed students, athlete coaches, and staff members over the weekend. And it's an 11-second video. And it's one specific player is doing the majority of the taunting. And he made the guy sit down there. And he says, when he sits down, he said everyone starts cheering and yelling and snickering and making fun of him for basically sitting in the midst of all these banana peels. Black people, this has happened, especially in soccer. This happens all the time when there's black athletes on the field. People in the stands will throw bananas at them and make monkey sounds. This type of racism where you compare black people to monkeys is well known and well documented. Again, these kids knew exactly what they were doing. But the disturbing thing about this video, yes, the kid that's like the main one who's instigating it is a white kid, and there's a bunch of white kids there, but there's also black kids there that did nothing. They did not stand up to stop this from happening. They went along with it. And this is the infuriating part of this situation. So, and then aside from all that, we can all see how blatantly racist this is. There's no there's no doubt in that. And of course, I think that these kids, especially these white kids that were this racist in this moment, are this racist at home. They're coming from mothers and fathers who are blatantly racist. And so this is a trickle down effect. But what bothers me, and I hate to say that it bothers me more, because it's almost like saying I just expect that to happen at this point. I don't expect racism to go away in this country. And that's a terrible thing to really say out loud, but it's true. I think the problem I have with this more so is the reaction from the young man that this happened to. So he released a statement, and he says, quote, he says, "I want to make it known that I'm fine. Everyone is worried about me and showing concern for me, and I really appreciate it. Second, can everyone please stop talking about the incident and the video? I understand everyone wants justice for me, and they want what they think is right to be done. But I already made my feelings known to the police and my friends." He's still calling these people his friends. He says, I made it known to my friends about how I feel. I love the football team, and I know that they are good guys. I know that personally. I talked to the people involved individually, and they apologized. We had a heartfelt talk about it, and I told them how I felt. So please don't harass, bully, or threaten them all. Lastly, I want to get my life back together and my student athlete life back on track. So if you do ever see me or know who I am, treat me as a human first, not a victim. This is riddled with problems for me because there's no level of apology that he should be willing to accept. I understand that sometimes you go into these situations and you are dealing with the person that is racist, and there's not a lot you can do about it. It's not like you have the authority to say, fire that person. You can't just stop working with a lot of people. And so sometimes there's just a level of understanding that needs to happen. However, this is not that. These kids need to understand that there can be severe punishment for what they have done, because you now know two things. Those white people in that room who did this to you, racist as hell. They do not value your life. They're probably the same ones that say, oh, well, stop resisting every time a black person reaches for their ID and gets shot and ended their life. They are that type of people. They were raised in that type of environment. You are not safe with those people who look at you like you're a damn monkey. You're not safe. Two, the black people who sat there and snickered and got along with it are not your allies. They are not your friends, because they are the type of black people that is going to try to jump on whatever train, whatever racist tirade these white people are doing just because they don't want it to happen to them. That is not a friend. That is not an ally. We call that a coon. I don't know what y'all call it where you from, but around here, that is not acceptable. When you are a black person and you see another black person in this situation, it is your obligation to step up and let them know that as long as I am here, I got your back. I'm not going to allow this to happen. So you should push for them to have consequences. You should push for them not to be able to play next season. I get that you love football and this is your team, but you need to understand that there's no love for you in that situation, because people who love you don't do this. And any apology that they're issuing to you right now is because this video is circulating and the police are involved. It's not because what they think they did is wrong. If they thought it was wrong, they wouldn't have done it. And there's a part of them that knew it was wrong, because they told you they would break your kneecaps if you didn't sit in there, because they wanted to demean you. They wanted to undermine your whole existence as a black man. You can't accept apologies, and you damn sure shouldn't get out on a field where everybody's supposed to be trying to protect each other. You shouldn't get on a field with these people and think that you can trust them, because you can't. You need to see this through. You need to make sure there's consequences, because I'm telling you right now, if you don't, all these people are going to learn is that they can issue some sort of fake apology the next time they accidentally can't tell the difference between a taser and a gun after 25 years. You're planting that seed right now, and it's your obligation to seek justice, because that's all we have is our fight for justice. So what we're not going to do is accept fake apologies from people who wanted to make us look like we were nothing more than a monkey. What we're not going to do is try to wash this under the table. And what we're not going to do is think that playing football with people who don't respect your life is that important. It is not. making sure that this doesn't happen to someone else is more important. So that's all I got to say about that. This infuriated me. If this was my child, when you come home, good talking to, and we going right back up to that school, and they are no longer playing football. So Mama Jackie would be on the scene. So this is probably why I don't have children right now. I would stay in a principal's office, because what we're not going to do is treat my child like this. No, we not. But Devin, what do you think about this whole entire situation?
Well, it makes me sad for a variety of reasons. First, I feel sad, obviously, that this student athlete was subjected to such horrendous treatment by the people who are supposed to be his friends and, be his teammates. And I just think that it's so awful that this kind of treatment and racism and discrimination still persists to this day, and that kids feel comfortable filming themselves in these kinds of situations. And I also feel sad that he did feel the need to issue this kind of statement where he's protecting the very people who bullied and harassed him. To me, it's just like, I can see why he would do that as a young kid, not wanting to be the center of attention, not wanting to be the star of the show, but ultimately it would have been in his best interest, and it would have been the right thing for him to do to hold these students accountable for what they did. But of course, that probably would have put a target on his back even more. So I can understand why he probably felt that kind of push and pull in that sort of situation. But I think it's just really, really tragic that he felt the only way he could appropriately respond to this is to come out with that kind of statement. That's absolutely not how it should have been. Those student athletes should for sure be held accountable, cut from the team, and use this as an experience to learn and grow and become a better human. Because that's the only way we're going to break this chain of racism, is teaching kids and raising kids that are more tolerant and better and open-minded and kind-hearted. And we're just not seeing that right now. So this is so awful. And I feel really saddened about everything in this situation. And Jackie, I know that my kid likely will not have those kinds of issues, but I would handle it the same way that you would. If there's any sort of bullying going on, the parents should not tolerate it. I wish his parents did go into the principal's office and said, no, our kid is not playing with these bullies, these racist bullies anymore. So it's just a really, really sad situation.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I'm sad that he had to go through it. And I'm sad, like you said, that he feels that this is his only recourse, is to try to make it go away, because it's not going to go away, because now they just know that they can treat you whatever. And they probably will do something like this again. It might not be as blatant, but it'll happen again, because now they know that it's just going to be swept under the rug. So it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
It really is. Well, Jackie, thank you for sharing that story with us. I feel like that's something that maybe a lot of us wouldn't have heard about had it not been for you. So I appreciate you bringing it to attention. And you guys, let this serve as your reminder. If you see anybody who's being mistreated in any way, whether it's, somebody being misogynistic or racist or homophobic, stand up, do something about it. Be the person that actually creates change and attempts to break the cycle, because we really need that as a society. We need to be able to progress, and it is the weight of that, it falls on our shoulders. So thank you so much for that, Jackie. Let's wrap up the show for the day. Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, share it with your friends, do all of the different things, and we're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, because it's not the weekend like I thought it was this morning. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.